Viewer beware, you're in for a scare.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Anastasia.
And welcome back to our channel and to our horror chats. Today's video will be all about Anarchy Parlor. Now, neither one of us had heard about this movie.
No.
I was just checking out movies on demand and ran across this because it was a guy with a tattoo gun. It kind of caught my eye. Now,
obviously,
yeah, I like tattoos. So this movie was made in 2015 or released in 2015. The directors and the writers are Devin Downs and Kenny Gage. Now, the main actor that is the guy in the picture holding the tattoo gun is Robert Sidardo. I hope that's the way you pronounce it.
We can't figure out how. We're sorry if we don't pronounce it right.
He has been in tons and tons of movies and shows, usually as the bad guy, because he is actually fully tattooed or for the most part fully tattooed. So those are not something that was put on for this movie. And I've always kind of like thought he was very interesting as an actor.
Yeah.
A little bit about this movie is that a group of friends are in Lithuania. Not sure where Lithuania is.
Somewhere in Europe, I think.
It is in Europe. Oh. Anyway, they're in Lithuania and they're, you know, going out, having fun, like
getting
college
drunk and stuff like that. Yeah.
And one of them meets a girl called Uta, who is like a badass bitch. She is.
I
awesome.
loved her. Like,
yes.
I loved her at first when we first see her.
Yeah, because she reminds me a little bit about, I mean, like, we don't look anything alike. Don't get me wrong, like, she's gorgeous, but...
So are you.
Well, I know I'm gorgeous, but she's, you know, like, 20-year-old gorgeous. I'm like,
and she's, like, rocking the look that she has. She has, like, a very gothic black dress going on. Her, like, she has, like, hair, like, swept on one side.
Her head is shaved on one side.
And it's, like, white.
Well, yeah, it's like blonde.
Blondish, whitish.
So they meet her, and she takes one of the guys, Brock, and one of the girls, Amy, back to a tattoo shop. When they get to the parlor, everything kind of goes south. So let's start out with the beginning of this movie. I found the very beginning of the movie, the worst part of the movie. Because
it was like...
it wasn't really understandable. So you have like two guys talking at a bar, and one of them is saying, I really don't like him, look at his shirt. And really, I didn't understand what was going on until the end of the movie.
Like almost to the very end.
Sorry guys, you may hear a fan. We had to turn on the fan. It is extremely hot with these like lights on here. We were like sweating.
Plus it's in the middle of summer.
It is the middle of summer, and we're in Georgia. Right. So that was the part of the movie that I really was like, what's going on? And also, like, the shot was far away, so you wasn't even really sure like who was talking. Now you kind of realized what was going on towards the end of the movie if you think about movies the way we do and kind of keep stuff in the back of our mind. And also, like, at the very beginning there was a part where the girls were kind of sitting down and dancing, which just looked stupid, and that's the only part of the movie that was just like, this movie's going to be awful. Now, if you can get past that part, I think it's a great movie. I think we both enjoyed it a lot.
I mean, I even enjoyed it with the part.
I enjoyed it with the part, but I was like, oh, this movie isn't going to be good.
Plus, like, when, like you said about the fall away shot, and you don't know who's talking, it's kind of following a girl walking. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so you don't really know, like, at the beginning, like, who are the main characters going to be.
Yeah, so.
So that was a little confusing. That's the only part that I was like, what? Why?
Yeah.
But really, it goes fast from that point. So one of the guys in the group, so actually there's 3 girls and 3 guys. One of them is actually a couple, which I can't remember. Well, Kelly. Okay, so Kelly and her boyfriend. I don't remember what her boyfriend's name. They're a couple, and then it's Kelly's sister, Stephanie.
Oh wait, Stephanie was her sister?
Stephanie was her sister.
I thought they were all just friends.
No, Stephanie was her sister.
Oh, that's... I mean, I understood why she was freaking out.
Yeah, that was her little sister.
Her little sister?
Her little sister. So, there was Stephanie, who was Kelly's sister, and then Amy, who was a friend of Kelly's, and then there was Brock, who was, I guess, like a friend of all of theirs, or at least, like, Kelly's boyfriend. He was a friend of.
Yeah.
And he seemed to kind of like Amy. I know he had, like, at one point they looked at his phone and he had a lot of pictures of Amy. But none of the other girls were with the other two guys. I think Stephanie at one point liked the other guy, which was named Jesse. I think she kind of liked him because they had a hookup scene at one point.
Yeah.
But they were not together in a relationship. Jesse gets them invited to another party. And they go to, like, this big mansion where they meet Unta, like we've already talked about, who looked really, really cool. She happened to just, like, come up to Amy and was like, "Oh, are you American?" And Amy was like, "Yeah." And was like, "Oh, I like your tattoos." Try to, like, have a nice conversation. Probably because she wanted a tattoo. And the girl was kind of rude and said, like, "Is that your friend?" And she was like, "Yeah." What's his name? And she's like, Brock. And
so she just kind of, like, walked up to Brock, who was currently making out with a chick.
Yeah.
And she just kind of pushed the chick away and, like, she, like, spoke, like, whatever language.
Yeah, we don't know what language it was.
The two were bickering, and I'm pretty sure she, like, called her some certain names, and then she began grossly making out with Brock.
Right, so like I said, Brock and Amy decide to go to this tattoo parlor. The other friends are like, no, don't go. We don't know this person. But Amy wanted to go, and she probably felt safe since she was going with Brock. So they kind of walk, and you kind of do get the sense of, like, maybe they shouldn't be going as they're walking, and, like, the streets look kind of scary. And there's a lot of, like, feelings that something's going to happen.
No, I didn't think, oh, maybe they shouldn't do this. I was like, they should not do this.
Right. It's definitely not a good thing to, like, go off in the middle of the night with someone you just met to go get a tattoo. To go anywhere. Like, you don't meet somebody at a club, and especially in, like, a strange city. Have you not seen Hostile People? So one other little tidbit that we forgot is while they were at the house, Amy was actually looking for a bathroom. And went into this room that was kind of like upstairs and off the way that had a bunch of paintings on the wall. All of the paintings were of people in one certain family that had, like, the same last name. They also had, like, an upside down cross with, like, some little marking beside the upside down cross.
Yeah.
And at that point, Jessie came in the room and was like, "Hey, what are you doing back here? There's, like, security guards walking around. We may not need to be in here." And she's like, "Oh, look at these paintings. These are so cool." And he's like, "Yeah, they're cool." And he kind of, like, shepherds her away from the paintings and back into the party where all the stuff with Unta and Brock happened.
Yeah.
So they get to the parlor, and which is a really cool tattoo shop. Has a lot of neat things in there.
Yeah.
And Brock is kind of being
a dick, basically.
Yeah, kind of an American tourist gone bad.
Being, like, rude. He's, like, picking stuff up and not putting them back in the place.
Right, he's just not being respectful.
Mm-mm.
And Unta goes and gets the artist. Never calls any other name but the artist. And I'm sure, like, it's a show of respect on her part that he's called the artist.
We still don't know his name.
Right.
Throughout the whole movie, even with the subtitles on, it was the artist. So we don't...
And he comes in, Unta leads Brock downstairs, and artist and Amy have a conversation. They have a very good conversation. He is very, very nice. He's like, everything really you want in a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And
he's answering her questions very well. Mm-hmm. He's like happy that she's wanting to know the history and questioning stuff about the culture.
Right, because she wants, like, some kind of culturally appropriate tattoo. to kind of commemorate that trip and like the time in her life.
Which makes sense when you're traveling.
Exactly. And he was like very appreciative because he was like, you know, that's very, very refreshing. You don't know how many people come in and want like butterflies. Technically, I love butterflies. I have a scullerfly on my back, but it is something different because it does have a skull.
Yeah, it's something unique and not overdone.
Right. I don't have like just regular butterflies necessarily, although they're pretty. Like I'm not dissing anybody with a butterfly tattoo. Believe me.
Even he said that like he's not trying to be mean on butterfly tattoos. It's just he doesn't like always doing
the same old. So he does offer her a drink, which is like this weird blue color. And I have a weird thing. I don't really accept drinks from people that I don't know, and I don't accept drinks that are open. And I know this is just because I watch a lot of horror movies. Yeah. And I really think this got me in like Human Centipede, when they drink the water. Like, I do not ever want to end up like with my mouth sewed on somebody's butt. So I don't drink, like, unless it's coming from my family or someone like I'm super, super close to. Yeah. I have a weird thing, okay?
So, like, if I go get a tattoo and they offer me a drink, I'll probably, like, take it, because, like, they want you to, like, not pass out while they're tattooing you.
Technically, I actually, when I got my tattoo, my arm tattoo, I was there for 8 hours. This is, like, not about the movie at all. But I was there for 8 hours, and he actually bought pizza and sodas for us.
Oh.
But, like, I knew him, like, we were cool. I was not in a foreign country. I didn't think that I was going to wind up sewed to someone's butt.
I mean, she wasn't sewed to anybody's butt.
She was not sewed to someone's butt. This is not the
We're not talking about the human centipede.
I know. Like, let's go back to the movie that
brings disturbing memories back.
I'm sorry.
We're never going to talk about that, by the way.
We may talk about that, by the way.
If we're going to talk about it, that means we're going to have to watch it. I'm not going to watch it.
The first one.
The first one is still bad.
It's bad, but it's not as bad. Anyway, let's go back to the movie that we're talking about, Anarchy Parlor. Also, let me just say that it is on the movie channel on demand if you want to look that up.
You should really, because
it really is.
I just want it to be out there that this is one of my favorite movie that I've ever seen so far. Like, and that's saying something, because I always love like Friday the 13th movies, but this one's my favorite horror movie that I've ever seen so far. And
I really wanted to say that the reason why I mentioned the beginning of this movie and not being the greatest is because I don't want you to judge the movie on like the first 3 minutes of the movie, because the first 3 minutes are not that great. Yeah, but then it goes into something at the parlor that is really fantastic.
Awesomeness,
okay.
Yes.
So we're getting the tattoo. She's starting to look a little sleepy, but you can kind of think, well, maybe it's just because she's like getting a tattoo. Yeah. I don't really think anything about it. So downstairs in like this basement looking area, Unta and Brock are making out, doing stuff, getting busy, and all of a sudden she kind of stabs him in the neck with a syringe full of blue liquid.
The same liquid that was in the drink.
Right. So we know something is going down. He jumps up. Now, this is the only real redeeming thing that Brock did the whole time, is he started screaming for Amy to run. And
he doesn't say help me. He says run, Amy.
Yeah, he does not even say help me.
I give credit because
because I really thought, like, to me, he was like a D-bag.
He was.
Until that point.
He dresses like one too.
Right, he does. But, I mean, he did, like, he redeemed himself. He started hollering for her. Now, unfortunately, she did not hear him, and he passes out. He is now finished with her tattoo. Brock is passed out downstairs, and the artist and Amy are talking about Amy going to school to be a doctor and not really sure if that's the path that she wants to take with her life. The artist is like, you still have time to decide.
Find your passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
And then Amy says, I think I may have drank too much, feeling lightheaded, and passes out. So, next scene is Brock as he's waking up. He is tied kind of face down to like a medical table, and Amy is tied or strapped face up to a medical table beside him. And he looks over and starts like hollering at Amy to wake up. You know, Amy,
redeeming
are you okay?
himself once again.
Yes, exactly, redeeming himself once again. And really nothing starts happening until Amy starts waking up. When Amy starts waking up, the artist starts talking to her.
Begins.
And let me just tell you, okay, this was painful for me to watch on many levels.
For one thing, she has many tattoos.
I do have many tattoos. So Brock has a tattoo on his arm where they proceed to cut off the tattoo on his arm. As in, they're cutting his skin around the tattoo.
All 7 layers of skin.
And peeling it off. Now, what they have injected in Brock and what they have given Amy is something from, I think it was a jellyfish?
A blue octopus.
A blue octopus that paralyzes them. You can't move, but you can feel everything. So that's lovely. And then they cut Brock's back. Yes, like cut.
Because he has the perfect back.
He has
no
the
moles, no birthmarks, no freckles. So his back is perfect for what they're about to do.
So they actually like cut a big square of skin off of his back, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now this is very, very gory. If you do not like gore, you may not like this. And even
I had to
me,
cover my eyes.
like I had to turn around, like, oh no, can't. Oh, what did they do? Oh no, you know, I was kind of like that. Now I will say it's very, very good effects, especially I don't think this is a super like big budget movie at all.
But the effects were very
good. Yes.
Yes.
And he takes out like this little scrapey looking
shoehorn looking thing,
and that is to kind of carefully like get the skin off, because if you don't use the tube, it'll tear. And I mention that because it is important later on. In the movie.
Everything we mention is gonna like tie up to the very end.
Exactly.
So
here's my other issue. Is that the whole time, like, Amy is kind of screaming and cussing at them. I don't know why people in movies, like, scream and cuss. Why don't you be nice and maybe they won't kill you?
Yeah, like okay, like, instincts is to scream. Okay, awesome.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they just have to scream. I don't know.
But screaming, okay, but when... I don't understand why they also ask what you're gonna do to us, because I don't want to know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like,
just let me go.
What are you gonna do to me? I'm gonna skin you alive. Oh God, no. No, I want it to be a surprise. You know, surprise me.
A surprise.
Like, I'm gonna do something to you. Okay. Oh, look, you're skinning me alive. I did not expect this at all. Because, like, she's cussing at him. She's, like, calling both of them, like, mean words. And I kind of like, okay, because, like, in the beginning, I liked the artist. I'm like, oh, he's so nice. And even then, even though what he was doing, like, why are you being so mean to him? He's been nice to you.
No, I was not feeling...
I feel bad for saying that, but I was like...
I was not feeling that, but I know Uta was much more aggressive. Yes. Because at one point, like, she even, like, grabbed, like, Amy's neck and was like, you're gonna die. And, like, the artist was like, you know, remove your hand from her neck, Uta. You know, don't touch her. And was pretty nice. Like, he was, like, not, like, angry. He was not being just... He
was, like, not annoyed at all.
Which means, like, he's probably even more psycho than Uta is, because he is able to peel somebody's back off and be calm.
Yeah.
So he's a little psycho.
And plus, I think he, like, he's not angry at Amy because, you know, it's kind of expected. Like, when...
Right, that's true. Like, you
so
think you're seeing your friend.
I understand you're angry at me, Amy.
Yeah, he's like the Zen killer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, it is okay. I forgive you. He's like a big, scary guy, but yet he looks sweet, too. Even with a body full of tattoos.
Well, here's my thing, is like, I trust people that look weird more than I trust, like, normal looking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want someone like Dexter coming at you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, most people, I think, if you look at, like, most people that are serial killers, There are some that look crazy, but most of them look like normal.
Normal people.
Normal people.
It's usually the weird people that's like nice to you.
Yeah, it's nice and chill. So, it's just like random.
We're being random, and I'm not even sure if there's going to be in the video or not, but...
Random. So, of course, Brock dies, and Amy's left there screaming. So the next...
pair of lungs, I swear.
Right, she does. So the next day, her friends wake up, and of course, neither one of them has come back to the hotel. They're kind of freaking out, and they decide to go looking for them. All they really have to go on is that they were going to a tattoo parlor, and Umta's description, they go to different tattoo parlors, and some of the locals were not very nice to them, even in the tattoo parlors and even out of the tattoo parlors. They find a tattoo parlor that knows who they're talking about to send them to the right parlor. So they all decide to go to the parlor. Of course, the artist is like, I gave Amy a tattoo. They went home about 4. You know, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And they leave. Well, as they're leaving, Kelly actually sees Brock's on the wall Brock's tattoo. And kind of, she looks at it, and you know, like it kind of starts her wheels to turn. But they leave, they go, and I think after a little while, I'm not positive, I don't remember what they did, how far in time they decided to go back to the parlor. But during the time that they were not at the parlor, Amy is now like sitting up in a chair, and the artist decides to give her a face tattoo, which is really interesting.
Tattoo poking.
Yeah, like
it sounds painful poking. Because he does say like poke like hundreds of times.
Right.
Like.
Luckily, it was a little tattoo though.
It was a little tattoo. But...
At this point, the friends decide to go back to the parlor, except for Jesse, who was like, "There's no reason to go back to the parlor."
And just goes to a strip club.
You know, he's like the guy said they're not there. They're probably back at the hotel. Let's go check there. And the friends decide to leave. So you've got Kelly, her boyfriend, and Stephanie. And then Jesse goes off on his own to go to a strip parlor.
Yes.
Very, well, you know, let's, like, a couple of my friends are missing. Let's go see strippers. Fun time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So they go back to the parlor, where this to me also is the part of the movie that is like,
what?
Why?
What were you thinking?
So they go into the parlor. Umta is there. She's like, oh, your friends are downstairs. They had just been there like 20, 30 minutes from there, and you know, the guy said they're not there.
So that's like a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. You already know something weird is going on. Leave the parlor, call the police, get the police down there.
Because, like, the artist, he doesn't give off a weird vibe.
Right, but
Umta does.
Very, very weird.
She does. So why would you trust that chick who 2 of your friends went missing with and was last saw?
I mean, the only thing is I understand that, like, they have a guy with them. There's 3 of them. They're thinking, like, there's her. But you don't know who's downstairs. You don't know whatever. You know, there's 2 of them because there's the guy and the girl.
Yeah.
2 people can overpower 3 people pretty easy, especially if there's 2 of them are girls and one of them's a guy. I mean, you just can't. You don't know. And they decide to go downstairs where, you know, of course, she gets a bat, starts knocking people, and like, Kelly,
she knocked 2 of them out.
She knocked 2 of them out, and Kelly's just standing there looking at her. I'm like, run.
I know your little sister's down there, but run.
Yeah, this is my problem with a lot of horror movies, is people do stupid things. Like, I'm sorry, I would just run, I would call the police and get them to save you.
Yeah, like, okay, yes, your little sisters and your boyfriends, and according to you, 2 of your friends are also down there. Run for help, okay? Because you're not going to do any good standing there like, oh my god, I don't know what's going on. Oh my god, she's hitting them. Oh god, she's hitting her now. What am I going to do?
So now everybody is trapped downstairs.
Except Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. Except Jesse, who's in a strip club. Now I will say that at one point Kelly's boyfriend sent a message to Jesse saying like, hey, we're back at the parlor. Come here when you can. And at the strip club, he does get the message after the fact. Like, he didn't answer the phone, but he did get the message. and he invites one of the strippers to go with him. He's like, I've got to go pick up my friends.
Another smart idea.
Right.
Go off with one of your customers who you just met.
Exactly. All of Amy's friends are down there, and they start waking up. Kelly wakes up first, and she starts screaming for Stephanie, who is now like strapped down on the slab, just
on her stomach.
On her stomach, just like Brock was. And the artist comes in and was like, oh, you know, she has a blemish. I don't know if it was like a like birthmark or something. It was some kind of like imperfection.
Yes.
So he tells Unta, you know, you can practice on her, which basically she is an apprentice, so she is learning how to
do
cut.
This, yes.
Yeah. So this is where the shoehorn looking thing comes in. Unta practices.
Or does it come in more?
But exactly. But she doesn't use it, and so the skin rips, which is another great effect. It's really, really gruesome.
They added a sound effect to the skin ripping.
Yeah. Ugh. And yeah, it was a little hard to watch, and especially like Kelly was like screaming and screaming, and like since Stephanie's her sister, Anastasia didn't realize. Like,
I did not know that.
She didn't realize that it was her sister, but it was her sister.
I just thought, hey, my best friend is being cut open in front of my eyes, but no, it's oh my gosh, my baby sister is being cut open in front of my eyes.
Right. So Stephanie dies. Kelly and her boyfriend are still alive,
and so is Amy.
And so is Amy. Jesse starts heading over from the strip club. From the strip club with a stripper that's going to get a piercing. And she goes in and starts really cussing Unta out. Like Unta gives her the piercing, but she's kind of like
she's like rude
really rude. She's like, ow, that hurt. Give me some ice. Now, I've had plenty of piercings. You don't talk to piercers like that. Yeah. You don't, like, you know, there's no reason to be rude.
Even if it's in a very sensitive place, you can say ow, they're kind of expecting it, but you don't
cuss it down.
Out.
Yeah, like,
you
I have said
ow,
or I've even said, like, a cuss word, but I've never, like, directed it at the piercer because it's something I want. They're not, like, hurting me on purpose.
Like, when I got my nose pierced, I don't have it pierced currently, sadly, but I had my nose pierced, and of course I remember I was like, oh, this really hurts, and I didn't scream, I made like a very loud noise.
Yeah. Jesse wanders downstairs because Unta said his friends were down there, and the girl got the piercing, was very rude, and Unta kind of was like, oh, I'll go get you some ice, and of course she comes back up there and proceeds to kill the stripper, probably because the stripper was extremely rude to her, because she didn't really have to die. She took her clothes,
Yeah, she took her clothes. So she was like saying, where the F is my clothes, what did you do, so I'm
exactly.
Like,
and she kills the girl and then rips the piercing out, which is a very, very like, it's a scene, but it's like, oh my god, you don't see anything, but just like, if you have piercings, and you imagine one of them getting ripped out, even if you're dead, like, I mean, at least she was dead before she ripped the piercing out.
What was gross is there was still meat on the piercing.
Ooh.
She didn't see it because she was like, no.
Yeah, like, I couldn't
And I was like, what is oh no. I watched the whole time, which is kind of weird, but I was like, she is not. She is. Mom, don't look. It's
So now we come to the part of the movie that you find out what is going on and why they're cutting people's backs off.
Yes.
Okay. So there is an ancient family that has their portraits made on the backs of their enemies. Yes. So they have got this artist, and that is what he does. Now, he does give regular tattoos also, but that, I guess, is like a very lucrative job. That's what he does for this family. And Jesse, of course, is a member of this family. And that is what the beginning scene was about, was Jesse fussing about Brock. Which, at that point, it made sense. It really didn't make sense at the beginning.
Brock was the one that he wanted his portrait on the back of.
Right.
And
so he sees Amy and like freaks out and is like, you know, she wasn't supposed to be here. My other friends wasn't supposed to be here, was just supposed to be Brock. He's pretty much just, you know,
freaking out.
Like he's just a douche. Like he really just.
Cause no, like at first he was like, yeah, they shouldn't be here, and like he was kind of like showing sympathy for his friends, and then he turns into a douche.
Right, and he's like, oh, they gotta go, they gotta go.
You have to kill her. You have to kill Amy. She knows my face. She knows now. Kill her. And I was just like, nah, I'm good. No, this is none of your concern, young one. None of my concern. I'm gonna call my dad. Why would you stand in the room in the same room as an expert killer, might I add?
Because he felt completely safe because he was rich. He thinks money is power.
I'm not that stupid. I don't care how like pea-brained I am. I hope I'm that at least smart enough to be like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna take my portrait, go outside safely, then call my dad. Hey, yeah, there's a chick that knows my face.
Right. It's like he dies, and that's kind of where I think we're going to end the movie.
Yes.
There's kind of like a little bit more that happens.
Yes, there's some really cool. Another.
Yeah, there's kind of like another plot twist. But we're going to end it there just because if you haven't seen the movie, yes, we give away a pretty good portion.
Yes.
But there's still like something to watch. And I think it's really, really interesting. This was a very interesting movie. It was a little bit different, I think, than anything that we've watched so far in the group of movies that we started on this channel. And in fact, like, I don't know necessarily that I've watched too much. I don't know that we've watched too many horror movies that are quite like this.
Yeah.
I would probably Hostel is closest. I've watched Hostel.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think I watched Hostel.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, Hostel is more like torture stuff, and this isn't really torture stuff, but
I mean, it slightly is.
It kind of has a little bit of that feeling. But I really think it's a great movie.
It is. So I really loved it.
A little bit to be worried if you seriously don't like gore. There's a few gory parts. Not super gory. It's not like blood flowing everywhere. Mainly
on gore. It's like it's just there in the storyline. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like if you're not like really into gore, there's moments where you just have to turn your back and close your eyes.
Yeah, I couldn't watch the piercing. Yeah. I couldn't watch the ripping out of the piercing scene.
Or the back.
And the back ripping, I kind of like...
Yeah, Fritz is saying something since she really loves gore.
Right. I think anything to do with medical stuff really bothers me, which I think is why like Hostel bothers me and why Human Centipede bothers me. Anything that could actually really happen bothers me a lot. Like, especially if you're like strapped down and you can't defend yourself. It really bothers me. So I think, you know, that's what this movie did to me. Like, it gets in that headspace. Like, what would you do if you were strapped down?
Nothing, because you can't do nothing.
Exactly. And also, like, I really like tattoos, so that would be, like, I would be in pain if they had to cut my tattoos off. Can you imagine?
Like, that chest piece is so beautiful. She will be dead by then. Like, she will be lucky if they take this first. I'm saying lucky because
she thinks like if they took the chest piece, like I'd be dead before it was over.
Look, because like they want to get the leaves, right? And the top of the leaves goes exactly right here.
Oh, so they'd like slice my neck.
They'll slice your neck and you'll bleed out. So that's better.
Yeah, I guess that's better.
Do you want to go? Do you want them to cut your arm off? No. I mean, if they do, it would have to slit your wrist anyway. So.
Alright, speaking of tattoos, on my Makeup Mama channel, I actually just had a video about my tattoos. I'm going to go ahead and like link it up here if you want to check it out because this movie is about tattoos. I just think it's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're going to end it there. We don't want to give away everything. This was a very good movie. I really liked the main actor. I think he's fantastic, and I love like all of his ink work. Like I literally would like to look at his tattoos, and I pretty much like most of the characters that he plays that I ever see him play because he seems like I don't think he is like a lot of times he is cast as like a gangster or like a criminal, but I think in real life he's like more like calm and like a nice guy. Times people with tattoos are viewed as like criminal elements, and that's not always the case. Now, I mean, of course, in this movie it is the case. He's killing people, but
he's not a criminal.
Technically he is a criminal, Stacia.
I mean,
you're just because you like him.
He has issues.
He has issues
that he's only doing for money because they pay good money.
Okay, but you could say like a hired killer only has issues. Like, is that the same thing?
But I mean, yes, he has issues if he's calm doing this. But he is not a criminal. Okay.
No. He is a criminal. Just because you like him, it doesn't mean that he's not a criminal.
He's a precious cinnamon roll, too good for this world.
Okay, so I guess she is now in his fandom. Okay, in this movie's fandom. Be sure to go check out my first channel, Makeup Mama channel. Check out our Tumblr. So we hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget, don't go to a tattoo parlor in the middle of the night in a strange country and drink some kind of glowing blue liquid. It never ends well. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye!